On my birthday, I was left alone. No gift, no husband, no warning at all. He told me he was going on a work retreat, but when a friend sent me an Instagram video, I froze. In the background, my husband and my sister, together, hugging, laughing, and suddenly everything made sense. Sorry for the massive dump of text, but I really need to let this out before I completely break down. My hands won't stop trembling, and I've already rewritten this at least 5 times. Ethan and I have been together for 5 years, married for the last 3. We didn't meet through some dating app or the usual ways people connect these days. Believe it or not, we actually ended up locked inside an art gallery's storage room together when the electronic lock glitched. We were stuck there for more than 2 hours with nothing but his protein bar to share, sitting on the cold floor surrounded by wrapped-up sculptures. Maintenance took forever to show up, but honestly, it turned out to be the most unexpectedly perfect way to meet someone. We talked about everything, from Caravaggio paintings to the bizarre pets we had growing up. When we were finally freed, he told me getting stuck like that was the luckiest accident of his life, then asked for my number. Life with Ethan has been pretty good overall, if I'm being honest. 2 years ago, we bought a cozy little house. We've got a solid group of friends, and we were genuinely enjoying creating a life together. Last weekend was my birthday, and Ethan, he's always gone out of his way to make my birthdays feel special. Last year, he whisked me away for a surprise weekend trip to Shenandoah. The year before that, he pulled together a beautiful dinner with all of our closest friends. But then, about 3 weeks ago, he told me he had a mandatory work retreat scheduled over my birthday weekend, something he said he absolutely couldn't get out of. I was bummed, sure, but I tried to be cool about it. He looked genuinely annoyed about the timing and kept ranting about how unreasonable his boss was for scheduling it then. He promised we'd celebrate once he got back, maybe even sneak in a little getaway. I didn't question a thing. I trusted him, completely, like a fool. The night before he left, he handed me a small box with a pair of earrings inside and apologized again for having to miss my birthday. He kissed me and said he wished he could stay. I watched him pack his laptop and a bunch of business casual clothes, even those cheesy team-building t-shirts companies always make you wear. I helped him fold everything. God, I feel like such a fool. Then my birthday weekend arrived and passed. I spent it by myself. Ordered some DoorDash, binge-watched a couple seasons of that new show, and had a FaceTime call with my parents who wished me happy birthday. My mom asked if Ethan had anything planned for me, and I told her about the work retreat. She raised her eyebrows a little but didn't say much. Now I get why. On Monday, Ethan came back home with souvenirs, some fancy chocolates and a tiny bottle of wine from the retreat resort. He talked about boring meetings and awkward team exercises, seemed tired but happy to be back. Everything felt totally normal. Then out of the blue, Jasmine messaged me. We're not super close, more like occasional friends. So I didn't think much of it when she said, "Hey, call me when you're alone." I figured she maybe needed to rant or something awkward had come up. When I called, she sounded weirdly quiet at first. Then she asked, "Is Ethan home?" I told her no, and she hesitated. Then she said, "Okay." I wasn't going to say anything, but I saw something on Instagram that seemed off. I don't know if it means anything, but I recognized Rachel. At first, I didn't get it. Recognized her where? Jasmine sighed and said, "One of my mutuals posted a story from a spa this weekend. Just a chill pool clip. But I swear I saw Ethan and your sister in the background." Then she sent me the screen recording. And there they were, clear as day. Ethan and Rachel, my husband, my sister, in the background of a casual spa video, his arm around her. She's snuggled up to him. He's rubbing her back. They're smiling, laughing, looking completely at ease, looking like they belong together, like a damn couple. And I was at home, alone, on my birthday, thinking he was at some work event he couldn't skip. God, I feel so stupid. I watched that 10-second clip over and over again. I couldn't believe it. But it was them, no doubt. He was wearing that same dumb vest I helped him pack. She had on the earrings I gave her last Christmas. You seriously couldn't make this stuff up. They were together the whole time, at a spa, holding each other like the rest of the world didn't even exist. like I didn't exist. And honestly, I don't even know what hurts more, the betrayal itself or the fact that they didn't even bother to hide it. This wasn't a slip-up. It wasn't some heat-of-the-moment thing. He just didn't care. And I never would have known if Jasmine hadn't seen that random post from someone she barely knows. Out of sheer panic, I checked our joint account. There was a $1,200 withdrawal made that Friday, but nothing labeled spa or travel. Then I looked at his personal account, the one I sometimes use during emergencies, but there was nothing out of the ordinary there. And that's when it hit me. My birthday cash. My grandmother sends me $800 in cash every year like clockwork. I'd slipped it into my wallet planning to deposit it later, but when I checked, it was gone. Suspicious, I called the spa pretending to request a receipt for an expense report. The woman on the phone was super helpful. She looked it up under Ethan's name, confirmed the reservation dates, and said they'd booked the romantic weekend package for two. The total bill? $1,119.50, paid with $800 in cash and $1,150 from a credit card. That's when it clicked. The cash he used? It was my birthday money, and that $1,200 withdrawal from our joint account? That probably went straight to paying off the credit card after their little getaway. He literally stole the money my grandma gave me for my birthday, just to take my sister on a romantic spa weekend. On my birthday weekend. I waited for Ethan to come home. Once he walked through the door, I pulled up the videos Jasmine had sent and showed them to him without saying a word. His face went pale, then flushed red. Right away, he launched into damage control. Said Rachel was going through a rough patch and just needed someone to talk to. He claimed he was just being there for her. I didn't even bother replying. I just pulled up the spa reservation on my phone and handed it to him. Then I asked as calmly as I could what happened to my birthday money. That's when everything shifted, like something in him snapped. His whole face went cold. He admitted it, all of it. Said he did take the money. Said he had been seeing Rachel for months. And then, while I was breaking down crying, he laughed. Actually laughed. Told me I never really deserved a gift anyway, and that at least Rachel knew how to make a man happy. I turned and walked straight to our bedroom, slammed the door behind me. After that, I could hear him in the other room on the phone, probably warning Rachel that I'd found out. That was 3 days ago. I haven't spoken a single word to him since. He's been trying to get me to talk, flip-flopping between angry rants and half-hearted apologies. This morning, he left for work like nothing had happened, but I saw how hard he yanked his jacket when I ignored his goodbye. I haven't called my parents, haven't confronted Rachel. I haven't told anyone, except Reddit. Honestly, I feel like I've been dropped into someone else's life, like I'm watching things happen from outside my own body. But the thing that keeps playing on a loop in my mind isn't even the cheating. It's the fact that he used my birthday money, my gift, to pay for their romantic getaway. Who does that? Just thinking about it makes my hands shake again. I swear I want to throw something every time it hits me. Last night I was lying in bed at 3 a.m. Googling divorce lawyers. I've started saving screenshots. The bank transactions, the spa confirmation, even the photos. No shame. I have no clue what to do next. Should I confront my sister? Tell my parents everything? Toss all his crap onto the lawn? Sorry again for the long ramble. I just needed someone to hear me out. And if you've actually read this far, thank you. Seriously, if anyone out there has gone through anything even remotely like this, I could really use some advice. Hey, it's me again. Honestly, I never thought that many people would read my first post, let alone care. I wrote it in the middle of the night, hands shaking, eyes swollen from crying, just desperate for someone, anyone, to hear me. I figured I'd wake up to a few "that sucks" comments and then quietly delete the whole thing. But the kindness, the advice, the validation that I'm not losing my mind, that meant more to me than I can even describe. Anyway, it's been almost 2 weeks since I found out my husband and my sister had been sleeping together. It still feels like I'm stuck inside someone else's nightmare. I said I'd post an update when I had some clarity, so here we are. Those first few days were a total blur. Ethan and I were basically two ghosts living in the same house. We barely spoke. just existed. He kept trying to start conversations. We need to talk. Or, can we please just sit down for a minute? But I couldn't even bring myself to look at him. I didn't want more lies. I'd just walk away or pretend I couldn't hear him through my headphones. I felt completely numb. And then, out of nowhere, Rachel texted me. Just this sad, pathetic little message. I'm sorry, it just happened. I didn't mean for it to come out like that. Seriously? You didn't accidentally fall into bed with my husband. This wasn't some freak moment. You made that choice, repeatedly, for months. You knew it was my birthday. You knew I'd be alone. You knew. And that's all you have to say? I didn't reply. I forwarded her message to my mom with a simple, ask Rachel what this is about. I couldn't bring myself to explain everything, but I knew Mom wouldn't let it slide. And wow, did she ever dig in. Not even an hour later, my phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree. Missed calls, texts, voicemails, Mom, Dad, all of them. I let it sit for a while. Then I finally answered. My mom was already crying when I picked up. She told me she'd called Rachel, and that Rachel had come clean. She admitted it had been going on for a while, and that she and Ethan had caught feelings. I confirmed it, told her everything. The pictures, the reservation, the money, all of it. My mom went quiet for a long moment. Then she asked if she should come over. I told her no. I just needed time. Then my dad called, and that one hit harder than I expected. He didn't say much, just asked if I was okay, if I needed money, if I felt safe. But when his voice cracked halfway through, I just lost it. I hadn't cried all day until then, but hearing my dad sound like that, broken, it destroyed me. A couple hours later, chaos exploded in our family group chat. Rachel came clean to everyone, but she tried to paint it like some tragic romance. We tried to fight it. We didn't mean to hurt anyone. Daniel, our older brother, wasn't having it. He torched her, called her selfish, delusional. Mom replied with a bunch of shocked face emojis and nothing else. Dad said he was profoundly disappointed. I muted the whole chat. I couldn't deal with any more emotional chaos. That was the point when I knew I had to start pulling myself together. I reached out to a friend who works at our bank. I kept it casual, just said things were a bit rocky, and I wanted to get a better handle on our finances. She helped me go through all our accounts. And that's when I realized the spa weekend was only scratching the surface. Ethan had been hiding things for a while. There were all these little withdrawals labeled as groceries, but the fridge never had anything new. Trips that were supposedly work-related didn't line up with his actual schedule. Turns out he had 3 credit cards I didn't even know existed, all under his name. Worse, he'd added me as an authorized user on 2 of them. But he made sure the cards and any notifications only went to his own email and mailing address. He even told the bank not to issue a physical card for me at all, said it was for simplicity, so I had no idea I was even on those accounts. No card, no statement, no clue. But once my friend helped me pull the full records, everything was right there in black and white. Fancy dinners I'd never been to, weekend Airbnb stays I never heard about, a $300 necklace, bought just 3 days before Rachel's birthday. I mean, come on. The next morning, I confronted him. He got defensive right away, said I was too controlling with money, that he needed freedom. I asked about the credit cards. He claimed they were for emergencies. Oh, really? Since when are luxury hotel stays with my sister considered emergencies? I snapped. I grabbed his favorite mug, the one with Darth Vader on it, and chucked it at the wall. It shattered. Good. He screamed that I was crazy and stormed out. Since then, we've barely spoken. When we do, it's him yelling or sulking like a child. The very next day, I booked a consultation with a divorce lawyer. She was calm, kind, and honestly a lifeline. She walked me through what I needed to gather: documents, proof of joint spending, personal versus gift purchases. She also told me not to leave the house yet and to keep track of everything. It was a lot to take in, but at least I finally had a direction. I also went to urgent care to get tested for STIs. Came back clean, thankfully. But let me tell you, trying to explain why I needed those tests was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life. Meanwhile, Ethan switched tactics, started love bombing me, flowers on the kitchen table, tearful apologies. We can fix this. Let's try therapy. When I didn't react, he pivoted. Suddenly, I wasn't trying hard enough. His moods would shift by the hour, from performative sadness to snide comments to flat-out silence. And then came the moment that sealed everything for me. There was a power outage at my office, so I came home earlier than usual. Ethan didn't hear me come in. He was on the phone in the kitchen telling Rachel, "Just give her some space. I've got it under control. Once this settles down, we'll figure it out." I didn't say a word. I walked into the room, grabbed my water bottle, and left. He knew I'd heard. He hung up fast, but he didn't come after me. That night, I called my cousin Trevor. He owns a rental house that's currently empty while he's renovating. I barely got through half the story before he said, "It's yours. No pressure. Pay whatever you can." I broke down crying again, but this time it was relief. Since then, I've been quietly moving things out while Ethan is at work. Just the essentials for now. Documents, clothes, anything sentimental. I also opened a brand new account at a totally different bank. I'm making sure I can walk away clean. Last weekend, Ethan ordered a ridiculously expensive watch, $2,100, and paid for it using our joint account. He claimed it was for work meetings, to maintain appearances. Please, it was just another way to feed his ego in the middle of all this wreckage. The delivery was scheduled for a day I'm usually at work, but I'd swapped shifts last minute and happened to be home when the courier rang the bell. I signed for the package, and out of pure spite and curiosity, I opened it. There it was, shiny, absurd, $2,100 of pure ego. For a second, I thought about just setting it on the table as more evidence of his trash priorities. But then I thought, why should I? That money came out of our account. I wasn't trying to be vindictive. I just didn't want him getting away with it. So I looked up the return policy. As long as it was unopened and I could prove it came from a joint account, they'd accept an in-person return. No questions asked. I drove to the closest store the same day, brought the receipt, pulled straight from our online banking. The clerk scanned it, barely blinked, and processed the refund right there. The money hit our joint account within the hour, but I'd already set up instant alerts. And the second it showed up, I moved my shares straight into my new account. He'll probably only notice when his next flex gets declined. Ethan is actually out of town right now for a real work conference this time. He has no clue that half the house is already empty, that the divorce papers are ready to go, or that he's about to walk into the harshest reality check of his life. I don't know exactly what comes next. I'm scared, I'm angry, but I'm finally starting to feel ready, and honestly, that's something. Thanks again to everyone who's listened and supported me through this. I'll update once things move forward. It's been a month since my last update, and wow, a lot has happened. When I left off, I was getting ready to leave Ethan while he was away at a work conference. Most of my stuff had already been moved to my cousin Trevor's rental house. I'd returned the ridiculous watch he bought, and the divorce papers were prepped and waiting. Well, I went through with it. And let me tell you, the fallout has been something else. The morning Ethan was due home, I did one last sweep of the house. I only took what was unquestionably mine, along with a few sentimental pieces we'd picked out together. Things I couldn't bring myself to leave behind. I left all the furniture, except for one item. My grandmother's antique reading chair, something that's been passed down through my family for generations. On the kitchen table, I placed the divorce papers. Right on top, I left a handwritten note. You were right. I don't know how to keep a man happy, but apparently, neither does my sister. Next to the note, I left my wedding ring and the house key, and then I walked out. For good. That night in my new place felt surreal, like I was floating through someone else's reality. I kept my phone off because I wasn't ready to deal with the chaos that was sure to follow. When I turned it back on the next morning, my phone blew up. 27 missed calls from Ethan, 12 from Rachel, 5 from my mom. Ethan left a string of voicemails. First confused. Hey, where are you? Did you go to your parents? Then angry. What the hell is this? We need to talk. Now. Then came the desperation. Please call me back. We can fix this. I'm sorry, I messed up. Rachel's messages were full of panic. Apparently, Ethan had started pulling away from her, and she was wondering if I'd spoken to him. She had no idea I'd left or served him with divorce papers. My mom just wanted to check in, said Ethan had called her looking for me. I replied, told her I was safe but needed space. I didn't reply to Ethan or Rachel. Around noon, my lawyer emailed me. She said Ethan had already contacted her office. She reminded me not to engage with him directly and to forward all communication to her. Honestly, that boundary felt like a massive relief. The next few days were a whirlwind of admin, setting up utilities, updating my address everywhere, giving my coworkers my new contact info. Meanwhile, Ethan kept oscillating, blowing up my phone for hours, then going radio silent. I ignored it all, documented everything. Then came the first real curveball. 5 days after I left, Rachel showed up at my job. I was walking to my car after a shift when I spotted her, leaning against a lamppost in the parking lot, arms crossed, eyes puffy like she'd been crying. The moment she saw me, she stood upright and walked toward me fast. I nearly kept walking. Every instinct in me said, "Don't engage." But then she said my name, loud enough that a few coworkers turned to look. She didn't ask for help exactly. Instead, she launched into this long, rambling monologue about how Ethan had ghosted her, how he'd made all these promises, and now he was ignoring her, how our parents were treating her like she didn't exist. "I know you hate me," she said, "but you don't get it. He used me too. I thought he actually cared." It wasn't an apology. She wasn't there to make things right. She wanted pity. She wanted me to reassure her that she wasn't to blame. I saw it in her eyes. She wasn't broken up because of what she did. She was upset because she lost the fantasy she thought she was getting. When I didn't respond, she stepped closer and lowered her voice. "You're not the only one who got hurt, you know." And I just looked at her, really looked, and I felt nothing. Not rage, not sympathy, not even the satisfaction of seeing her miserable, just emptiness. I told her I couldn't help her and suggested she call Daniel. When she reached out and grabbed my arm, I yanked away hard, hard enough that she stumbled back a few steps. I got in my car and drove off. That night, she texted me from a number I didn't recognize. "He's changed. I think he still loves you. We made a mistake." I stared at the message for a while, like 20 minutes. Then I took a screenshot and sent it to Ethan. No text, no comment, just the screenshot. He called within minutes. I didn't answer. An hour later, I got a text. "It wasn't like that. She's lying. I never loved her. It was just physical. Please talk to me." I forwarded that one to Rachel, also without comment. Maybe it was petty, maybe not, but I wanted them both to see, to know what the other was saying, to feel some version of the betrayal they dumped on me. About a week later, I was officially served with Ethan's response to my divorce filing. He was contesting everything: the property division, the grounds for divorce. He even claimed that I'd abandoned the marital home. My lawyer wasn't fazed at all. She said this was typical, just the opening bluff in what's basically a negotiation. Nothing to panic over. What Ethan didn't realize was that I'd been documenting everything. Every shady charge, every sketchy transaction, screenshots of texts, photos of him and Rachel together, voice recordings, witness statements. My lawyer said our case was strong, very strong, and she seemed genuinely confident. 2 weeks after I moved out, I finally sat down with my parents. They looked absolutely drained when I finally saw them. My dad pulled me into a hug and wouldn't let go. Mom kept dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. They told me they'd had several talks with Rachel. She was crashing at Daniel's place temporarily, but apparently it was already a disaster. She kept insisting that what she and Ethan had was real and that everyone was just overreacting. Daniel's wife, from what I heard, was this close to kicking her out herself. I filled my parents in on everything: the divorce process, my new place, where I was at emotionally and financially. I told them I was managing. It wasn't the whole truth, but they had enough to worry about. Then my dad said something that completely blindsided me. They'd already spoken to a family lawyer about removing Rachel from their will. I told him that felt extreme. She was still their daughter. But Dad didn't waver. He said flat out, actions have consequences. They raised both of us to know better than this. 3 weeks after I walked away, I got a heads up from my lawyer. Ethan had just drained a chunk of our joint savings. $7,000. Gone. Luckily, I'd already moved the majority of my portion out, but it still felt like another slap in the face. My lawyer didn't waste time. She filed emergency motions to freeze the remaining shared assets and requested temporary financial orders from the court. The hearing was set for the following week. But then 2 days before the date, Ethan's lawyer suddenly reached out. Now, out of nowhere, Ethan wanted to settle. No hearing, no fight. He said he'd agree to my proposed division of property if I agreed not to cite adultery as the reason for the divorce in the public record. My lawyer told me it was a strong offer. I'd get what I wanted, avoid the stress of court, and walk away clean. But it didn't sit right. Why the sudden shift? Why was he suddenly so worried about what the paperwork said? That evening, I got a text from a random number. Clearly Rachel, using a friend's phone. Ethan's boss found out. He's in trouble. Please don't make things worse for him. And there it was, the puzzle piece. Ethan's job had strict policies on personal conduct, especially for someone in a leadership role. If I filed citing infidelity with specific evidence, it could seriously affect his career. That's why he panicked. I told my lawyer I'd agree, but only with one added condition. Ethan would cover all legal fees, hers and mine. His attorney pushed back, and we went back and forth. Finally, we settled on him covering 80% of the total costs. The papers were set to be signed the following week. And yesterday, for the first time since this whole nightmare began, I didn't cry. Not once. I went to work, grabbed lunch with a coworker, came home, made dinner, watched a show, and went to bed. Just normal things. Tiny things. But they felt like real wins. Then this morning, I woke up to 15 missed calls. All from that same burner number Rachel had used before. I haven't listened to any of the voicemails. I don't need more excuses from her. That afternoon, while I was grocery shopping, my phone buzzed again, this time with an email from Ethan's company. Not HR, but their legal team. Apparently, Ethan had told them I was spreading false rumors about him at work, specifically about the affair. The email was worded like a routine fact-check request. They said they were conducting a review and wanted confirmation about whether the allegations were true. I just stood there, frozen, staring at my phone in the middle of the cereal aisle. I must have looked completely out of it because a store employee actually stopped to ask if I was okay. When I got home, I forwarded the email to my lawyer immediately. She called me within 10 minutes. Together, we crafted a concise and professional response. I had filed for divorce based on verifiable evidence of infidelity, and I had not shared or discussed any personal details of the situation within Ethan's workplace. We attached a few relevant screenshots and a redacted copy of the spa receipt, just enough to make the point. The message was short, factual, and respectful. We kept it tight. An hour later, we got an out-of-office reply. So now, I wait. That evening, my brother Daniel called to check in. He mentioned that Rachel had finally moved out of their house the day before. She's now crashing with some friend. He's not sure who. Apparently, she left a mess behind. The guest room looked like a tornado hit it. Makeup smeared all over the bathroom, stained bed sheets, and even a burn mark in the carpet from her straightening iron. While we were talking, I got a notification that Ethan had posted on Instagram for the first time in weeks. It was a close-up shot of a whiskey glass next to some vague, moody quote about weathering storms and finding yourself. I almost laughed. 6 weeks ago, that kind of post would have gutted me. Now, it just looked pathetic. The same man who laughed at me while I cried, who used my birthday money to cheat with my sister, who said I didn't deserve gifts. Now he's trying to play the reflective sad boy on social media. Please, for now I'm still living at Trevor's rental, but I've started searching for a place of my own. I've been browsing Facebook Marketplace for secondhand furniture and even signed up for a meal kit service. Just so I'm not living off fast food every night. Tomorrow I have a meeting scheduled with my lawyer to review the final settlement before Ethan signs next week. She says we've pretty much covered everything, but wants to do a final check. just in case there are any hidden debts or surprise assets we missed. I know there's still a road ahead. The divorce won't be finalized overnight. But honestly, Ethan and Rachel wanted to play at being adults. Now they're learning what real consequences look like. And something about that finally feels like justice. So many of you reached out asking for an update, and I've been meaning to share one for a while. I said I'd come back once the things were settled. So, here it is. First of all, the divorce was finalized last month. Ethan stopped contesting everything once his company launched an internal investigation. In the end, the settlement was almost exactly what I'd originally proposed. I kept my retirement accounts and all my personal items. He kept the house, but he was required to refinance it, take my name off the mortgage, and buy me out for my share of the equity. We split our joint savings minus the $7,000 he'd withdrawn before everything blew up. And, as agreed, he covered 80% of the legal fees. It was exhausting, expensive, emotionally draining, but fair and final. What I didn't expect was what happened at the courthouse the day everything was signed. Ethan, through his lawyer, asked for 5 minutes to speak with me. My lawyer advised against it, but I was too curious not to find out what he had to say. We stayed inside the courthouse, with security nearby. He didn't try to win me back, said he just needed me to know he understood how badly he'd screwed everything up. He asked if maybe someday we could be on speaking terms again. I told him probably not, but that I hoped he'd move forward and figure himself out. Was that true? Not really. I don't wish him harm, but I don't wish him happiness either. I just want him to stay in my past. Rachel, that's been harder to untangle. After Daniel kicked her out, she bounced around, couch surfing at various friends' places, but no one kept her long. Apparently, she'd stay up all night drinking wine, crying about how unfair everything was, but wouldn't actually do anything to fix her life. Eventually, she moved back in with our parents about 3 months ago, and according to Mom, it's been tense ever since. Dad barely talks to her. Mom is stuck trying to keep the peace. Rachel did manage to get a job at a call center, and she claims she's saving up to get her own place. But from what I hear, most of her paychecks go straight to Sephora and Uber Eats. We haven't spoken directly since that day in my work parking lot. She's texted me, a lot, from multiple numbers. At first it was defensive. You don't understand what Ethan and I had. Then desperate, please talk to me. I miss my sister. Then just tired. I know you'll probably hate me forever. I haven't answered a single one. Our extended family knows something went down between us, but most don't know the full story. They haven't asked. Though my grandmother, the same one who mailed me the birthday money Ethan stole, did corner me at Christmas. She told me that forgiveness heals the forgiver more than the forgiven. I smiled, nodded, and changed the subject. I love her, but she doesn't get that some betrayals cut too deep for hugs and platitudes to fix. As for me, I'm doing okay. Actually, better than okay some days. 2 months ago, I found a little one-bedroom apartment with amazing natural light. It's nothing fancy, but it feels like mine. Last week, I went on a third date with someone. A friend introduced us. He's a radiologist at the Children's Hospital across town. He knows the broad strokes of what happened and hasn't bolted. We're taking things very slow, but it's comforting to know that not every man is garbage. The most surprising part of all of this? My relationship with my brother Daniel. We were never that close growing up. 5 years apart, completely different worlds. But through everything, he's become my fiercest defender. When Rachel tried to spin herself as a victim at a family dinner I skipped, Daniel apparently shut her down so thoroughly she left the table in tears. He calls me every week now just to check in. His wife has basically become the sister I no longer have. A few weeks ago, I ran into Ethan at Target. We locked eyes. I gave him a polite nod. Then I walked away. Later, when I got to checkout, the cashier said someone had already paid for my stuff. I knew it was him. I donated the exact amount, $74 and some change, to a local shelter that afternoon. I don't want anything that comes from him. Oh, and that refund from the watch I returned? I used it to book a solo trip to Costa Rica for my 30th birthday. Next month, I'll be staying in a cozy beachfront cabin. Just me, the ocean, and peace. I deleted my old Instagram too. Too many memories with him, with her, started a new private one. Only close friends. I've even been teaching myself how to cook real food again. No more frozen dinners every night. As for Rachel, I don't know. Some days, I think the sister I knew died the moment she made her choice. Other days, I remember the little girl who used to sneak into my room and beg to borrow my clothes. And I wonder if there's any piece of that bond still buried beneath the rubble. Maybe time will tell, but I'm not in a hurry to find out.